of history's embrace. Captain's quarters sets the pace with Captain Mayhem at the helm. A voyage of knowledge, a story to round. Captain's quarters weekly delight, where history's treasures take flight. Led by Mayhem, Longwood, and Joe, they explore the past, row by row. Navigator Longwood charts the course, guiding listeners to knowledge's source. Cartographer Joe, with maps in hand, unveils.
Hey, welcome to Captain's Quarters Podcast, episode 171. And as always, I see that Zachary Harker from all the way up in Michigan is already on board. Welcome aboard, mate. It's always nice to see you. I am sure you're cold up there. We have a pretty good show set up for you tonight. As you can see, the scenery looks a little different. I've got a newer camera on everything, and we're trying a couple of things. We'll see what happens. But as that goes, Davey, how do we get people to watch our show? That's it. Go to Captain's Quarters Podcast at YouTube. There's that QR code. That'll get you right to us. And every Monday night live show at 8 o'clock. And then after the show's done, well, it downloads right to our YouTube channel and about 9 other platforms. And we'll tell you that at the end of the show tonight. So I always like to tell people, like us, follow us, subscribe to us. I'm partial to the like. Makes me feel good when people like me. But subscribe and follow us and keep up with us. I believe we picked up a few extras this week because I've been pushing us on the school trips that I've been doing, and we've got a buku load of school trips this week at the Pirate Museum. In fact, I have 21 tours this week. I think it's 21 or 24. So there you have it. On that note, Davey, we always like to start with 8 bells. How many do we have? And it's sponsored by Marco's Pizza. Marco's Pizza, you want a really good pizza? They've been a great sponsor of ours. I actually now owe them a phone call and a meeting because we were supposed to have them be a part of our Old City Pirate Fest, and that did not happen. But I have some other things to make sure that they're happy because they are a sponsor with us for the whole year. So we're bringing them in to the Celtic Festival and the Seafood Festival and whatever else we can figure out. Upon that note, ladies and gentlemen, 8 bells. You know how it goes. Let's see who we have that's passed on this week that everybody loves. How about Richard Totten Button, an American figure skater and skating analyst. He was a 2-time Olympic champion in 48 and 52, and a 5-time consecutive world champion in 48 to 52. He was also only non-European man to have ever become European champion. As founder of Candid Productions, he created a variety of made-for-television sports events, including the World Professional Figure Skating Championships, Challenge of Champions, and Dorothy Hamill specials for HBO. He was 95 years old, ladies and gentlemen. How about this one? Gene Schroeder, 1929 to 2025, an American professional football player who was a wide receiver for 6 seasons with the Chicago Bears of the National Football League. Schroeder played college football for the Virginia Cavaliers and was a first-round pick in 1951. Schroeder moved to Crown Point, Indiana in 75, where he retired, and he also was 95 years old. William Edward Luchenberg, an American historian who is the William Rand Keenan Jr. Professor of History at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, and a leading scholar of the life and career of Franklin Delano Roosevelt. He won the 2007 North Carolina Award for Literature, and he was a president of the American Historical Association, the Organization of American Historians, and the Society of American Historians. He was 102. Al Serrantonio, an American horror and science fiction writer, editor, and publisher who authored more than 50 books and 90 short stories. He also edited numerous anthologies. Serrantonio was book reviewer for Night Cry magazine, the short-lived digest-sized offshoot of the Twilight Zone magazine, and had been a critic and columnist for the other publications as well. He was 72 years old. Notable victims of 2025 Potomac River midair collision. Very good, Davey. Alexander Kirsanov, an American ice dancer, Vadim Nurmov, 55, the Russian Olympics figure skater, 92 and 94, world champion 94, and Evgenia Shivkova. My Russian is being taxed tonight. 52, Russian Olympics figure skater, 92 and 94, and world champion 94. I do remember her. And Anna Volyanskaya, 59, Russian pair skater. Very good, Davey. Very good catch on those. There's a lot of people. Well, I think it was 68 or 69 people perished in that accident, ladies and gentlemen. Very good. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, that's 8 bells. If you don't know what 8 bells is a signal for at sea burial. When we say something nice about somebody and then give them over to the sea. So raise your glass, ladies and gentlemen. We say cheers to them in honor to them, their fans, and their families. Those are the people that make our world great. Cheers and 8 bells, Davey. And we should just go ahead and jump it up a notch and make sure that we're smiling about it. Not that we're frowning or not that we're unhappy, but Joke of the Week with Mini Mayhem. And that is sponsored by Salt City Comic. He's the guy out there in Utah that has made us look so good as comic book people. Isn't that right, Davey?
That is right.
I know. We look so good. And there you go. Now you know why the rum is always gone, because Davey is and Captain's losing it. Now, I'm not losing it yet. We haven't even gotten in the show yet. I'll drink to that. But there's the cartoons, and we've used them for all kinds of things. So it's always good to see. Davey, let's bring in Mini Mayhem.
Ahoy, mates. Mini Mayhem here with Joke of the Week. Sponsored by our cartoonist friend Travis Rami of Salt City Comics. Why don't pirates with a hook like helping others? Think about it, and I'll give you the answer at the end of the show.
Why don't pirates with a hook like helping others? I don't know. I guess I'll wait to the end of the show like everybody else, and we'll see what happens. Good one, Davey. And, of course, question of the week. Now, Davey, is the reason for my question of the week, is it in your This Week in History?
You mean quote of the week?
What's that?
You mean quote of the week?
Oh, I'm sorry. Quote of the week is first. I was jumping right to question. Go ahead. Quote of the week. I'm sorry. Quote of the week sponsored by Spyglass Travel here in St. Augustine. You want a great walking tour to St. Augustine for good cardio? Because it's an hour tour walking through the city of St. Augustine and getting the history of the world's oldest city with my friends at Spyglass Travel. Kevin and Angie and all of their tour guides provide a great tour, and we hope that you can get one of those tours. Just call them up, Spyglass Travel. For now, though, what is that quote, Davey? Philanthropy, charity, giving voluntarily and freely. Call it what you like, but it is truly a jewel of an American tradition. John Fitzgerald Kennedy. That's a good quote. I like that. That's one we should make sure we show off on our Swashbucklers Crew page, too. Good one, Davey. Now we can go to question of the week. So, question of the week is sponsored by Ancient City Sirens. Now, and if you want a good dance troupe, why, Miss Gina and her girls can provide for any kind of dancing you need for any event you have. And I mean it. I've been working with Gina now for almost 19 years. She's one of the only few professional entertainers that I really enjoy working with for that long a time. On that note, before I do that, well, too late, you've done it. Rock music, 60s, 70s, 80s, maybe even the 90s. Which era is your favorite? And the reason I put this up there is today is the celebration or the acknowledgement of the day the music died. And Davey, is that in your history of the week? I thought so. But before we go any further, let me go ahead and just add a little bit extra to it, because it is an important thing. Don McLean glorified it in his song, The Day the Music Died. But the day the music died was February 3rd, and it remembers the unfortunate and untimely death of singers 22-year-old Buddy Holly, 17-year-old Richie Valens, and 28-year-old J.P. Richardson, also known as the Big Bopper. These three artists died in an airplane accident on February 3rd, 1959, near Clear Lake, Iowa. Their pilot, Roger Peterson, also perished. A couple of things you may not know. Waylon Jennings was supposed to be on that ride. That could have made a big difference in some of the country music that some of us enjoyed. Waylon Jennings. They took off, but never made it to their destination. It was not known that they had crashed until after they figured they never made it to their destination. They didn't know they crashed at the time they crashed. And it was in terrible, terrible weather. There are pilgrimages. Tragic event echoed through history for over 50 years. Visitors still make the pilgrimage each year to Clear Lake, Iowa, the resort town about 110 miles north of Des Moines, Iowa, as this was the point of their last concert before the fatal accident. The Day the Music Died is a line in 1972 Don McLean hit American Pie. McLean's song, which he wrote in the late 60s and released in 71, was in parts inspired by the tragic event which took the lives of three of the great musicians of their time and their pilot. And these are the words. But February made me shiver with every paper I delivered. Bad news on the doorstep. I couldn't take one more step. I can't remember if I cried when I read about his widowed bride, but something touched me deep inside the day the music died. So that prompted me to ask the question, what is your favorite era of music? I happen to like the 60s and the 70s, some of the 80s, but after that, I don't like music anymore. But I think that's me getting old. Good job, Davey. Good job. And from question of the week, we actually go to This Week in Nautical History. So, Davey, go ahead. And that is sponsored. We don't have a sponsor for that this week right now. So if you're watching or see us later and want to be a sponsor of our show, we could use a sponsor for that. And it would be wonderful to do. Last year, the sponsor was Florida Water Tours, but they have not answered any of my emails, so I don't know what's going on with them right now. So for now, we could use a sponsor, but let's just have This Week in Nautical History. Take it away, Davey.
We begin This Week in Nautical History in the year 1782. British garrison in Morocco, Western Mediterranean, surrenders to French and Spanish fleet as part of the American Revolutionary War. 1799, USS Constellation captures French frigate insurgents off Nevis, West Indies. 1831, Jan van Speyk blows up his gunboat in Antwerp to avoid capture by the Belgian, killing about 30. 1862, American Civil War, naval engagement on Tennessee River, USS Constantino vs. CSS Appleton Bell. Also in 1862, Federal fleet attack on Roanoke Island, North Carolina. 1863, HMS Orpheus sinks off the coast of Auckland, New Zealand, killing 189. 1894, first U.S. steel sailing vessel, Dorigo, launched at Bath, Maine. 1917, U.S. ocean liner Housatonic is sunk by German submarine on the same day that U.S. President Woodrow Wilson breaks off diplomatic relations with Germany. And finally, in 1944, German submarine U-762 sunk off Ireland by British forces with the loss of all 50 crewmen. And that was This Week in Nautical History.
Where you want. Yeah. Very good, Davey. Very good. Some really good points there. As always, you do such a fine job. I was just talking off screen there. Our guest will be coming on in just a few minutes. But first, a few things on the community calendar. Shall we? I know I don't have to ask this. Davey is always on point and does such a great job. Did you do a video or slideshow for Saturday's event?
Video.
All right. So before you play it, So those of you that may not know, as the St. Augustine Swashbucklers did not have a chance to do their Pirate Festival this past weekend. But I still wanted to keep the date active. So what we decided to do was called a Goodwill Tour of St. George Street, which meant that we went down on St. George Street. We all met at one location, and then we wandered up and down the street, said hello to some of the places that have supported us, and spent money in their places. And believe it or not, I'm quite sure, I don't know exactly, but I'm quite sure that my crew spent, as a combined, over $1,500 across the city of St. George Street. That's a lot of money to give back. From beef jerky to good rum to good food for lunch, good drinks. We had a good time. So Davey's got a video. Let's see what's on it. And I forgot to send him a video or two. So we may do an extra one next week to add a few things more. But for now, Davey, go ahead. I went and looked in Webster's dictionary where it says herding cats and it says the St. Augustine Swashbucklers. I got it figured out. But I think we made a good impression on some of the stores we had. We did some good pictures today. Davey, when he goes up, wherever he's hiding at. I'm going to go over there and yank his chain.
My arm's getting tired.
Hey.
Come on now, we're down.
Thank you to everybody. Go ahead and enjoy. I will be going to Augie's when we're done. There he is. Good job, Davey. I think you pretty well covered every place we went. I think you got it covered. You did a good job. The crew had a good time. Literally, it was like herding cats. but I think we made an impression on every place that we went, and from everything I've heard from the crew, they want to do it again. So I was talking with a couple of crew members today, and I believe the next time we do it will be in April, but I need to make sure that we don't, that we know when Easter and spring vacations are, so we don't want to lose that. So I think it was a good time. What do you think, Davey?
I thought it was. Everybody seemed to have a good time.
Yeah, and I was really pleased with the fact that many of the crews bought things, and buying things at the stores was also another point. It's kind of hard for me to make the crew spend money. I don't want them to, but at the same time, I do want them to, because we need to show those stores down there that we give back also. So good job, Davey. Very good. Now, you may notice there's a second person sitting here with me now. It's almost like a cloning, but this is a good friend of mine, Jorge Rivera. He is the owner of First Coast TV.
Yep.
And
First Hit Up, and then
and St. Augustine Tonight.
Tonight Show.
The
Yeah.
Tonight Show.
Yeah. Well, it's St. Augustine Tonight. Yeah.
And what started me getting over here, getting him on the show, was that I guess almost 2 weeks ago, he put out a post on Facebook. He's taking his show and his cameras to Europe. Yes, going to Europe and going to do some things there. And we're going to talk about that. So I sent him a message. I said, hey, when are you going? And he told me, which you're going next week.
Yeah. The 17th is really when we take off.
So
Yeah, this week we have an event at Wendy Tatter's Gallery next to Gypsy Cab, which is like a Bon Voyage party, and it's a free event. There'll be wine. There'll be
what night is that one on?
That is Saturday from 5 to 8 on the 8th of February, from 5 to 8. And so you'll get to see the costumes. You'll get a slideshow. There's wine. There's things. The pictures of Venice that you'll be able to purchase if you want. But it's our send-off party, because then, shortly 9 days later, we're on a plane headed to Europe.
So I gave Jorge the chance to do either tonight or next Monday night. He chose tonight, and we scrambled to get everything in place. As you know, last week I had to do the show from my office computer because I couldn't figure out why we couldn't get on the internet, which I hate technology.
Yeah. Well, I want to do a toast real quick here before I forget. For people like us who are in front of the camera, like William here and myself, we'd be nothing without people like Davey and Mandy.
Absolutely
So
right.
I gotta give you guys a toast, because it's people like you that make this possible in so many ways that we could not spend hours explaining. But I'm very impressed. This is very professional, and kudos to you. I take my hat off to you, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you. Thank you for your support.
See, I tell everybody I'm just the pretty face.
Yes.
But you know what? And let me give you another comparison. When I did magic shows out west, Vegas and Arizona, wherever, and I did the stage shows, the illusions are nothing without the ladies.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't do anything without them. And they really, they're not just laying around. They're really doing stuff. So the ladies, the sound guy, the light guys, everything's important in a magic show. So it's the same thing.
Vanna White. What was the show she was in? She used to turn the letters. Jeopardy, was it?
No, that was Wheel of Fortune.
Wheel of Fortune. Without Vanna White, there'd be no Wheel of Fortune.
That's right. Yeah.
You
So you're going to Europe.
Yes, sir.
How long you gonna? Let's start with how long you're gonna be gone.
Okay, so the idea is that the St. Augustine Tonight Show, which is sort of under the umbrella of First Coast.tv, is taking some time off because there was a lot of tragedy, a lot of death in family. I lost my girlfriend to cancer, lost my mother 2 months ago. A lot went on. I lost my dog. I lost 3 friends. It was 2024 was really a morgue of people I loved, and so there was no. The last 2 years, a lot of this was going on. So now I said, I'm going to throw the show. Let's start. Everyone keeps asking me the show. When is the show coming up? Blah 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 blah. The show. So I said, let's do the show. I had been invited to attend Venice has a carnival. If you don't know, Venice has a carnival that is 1,000 years old. It was very private, and it was like Las Vegas. Whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, kind of thing. So in 1979, the Italian government said, we're going to turn it into a national event. And photographers come from all. This is not Mardi Gras. This is not Brazil. This is very plush. People put thousands of dollars into their costumes, their balls. A lot of churches and palaces are open during those 2 weeks from February 15th to about March 2nd or 4th. And so some people reached out to me and said, you had some rough years there. Want you to come with us. And so I decided, can I use this as a platform to launch the St. Augustine Tonight Show, which will really, the show itself will happen September into December. But can we start a series of events bringing us to that show in September? So we will be in Venice for 11 days. We'll be in Zurich, Switzerland for 2 days. And then we'll be in Paris, where we'll visit the Notre Dame Church, which has just been totally renovated after the fire.
So those are your only 3 stops?
Only 3 stops. We'll be in restaurants. We'll be wearing this jacket and asking people, do you know where St. Augustine is? And this is funny because someone sent me this news thing from Jacksonville somewhere saying that St. Augustine was now starting a campaign to try to bring European people here because the numbers had gone down. And I said to myself, all right, you guys do that. St. Augustine is going to go there. I'm going to talk to people. Do you know where St. Augustine is? Do you know anything about this place? I'll show them pictures on my phone. We'll interview them. So what we're going to do while we're gone for these like 18 days is putting reels on Facebook and putting stuff on TikTok and putting stuff on Instagram. People can actually follow us. We'll be walking. I'll be dressed in 5 outrageous costumes, but there'll be days when I'll be wearing this, and I'll be going out in Venice, in Paris. Well, Paris, there's no festival going on, but we'll go and talk to people. Do you know who we are, where we're at? And we're an old country too, you know, in a way. We're almost 500 years old. So there's that relationship of Spain and Europe itself. The French have been here, the British have been here. So this is what this is all about. And we have a GoFundMe thing. Someone bought my ball ticket to go to one of the balls. There's only a few in Venice during this. Costs an arm and a leg. Someone sponsored that ticket. So
Well,
I will be sending
We
photos.
give them a peg to go with that leg they lost, then they can be a pirate.
Yes, yes.
So-
And there are lots of pirates, though. In Venice, there are a lot of people who use that steampunk and the pirate theme
Yeah.
among many, many things. So if you go to YouTube, you just put Venice Carnival, whatever year, you're going to see cameras running through the street. All the photographers of Europe come to this. This is the carnival of planet Earth.
I think what we'll have to do is, this is just a thought, but on the Mondays that you're away, which would be the last part of February all through March, on the Mondays you're away, you'll have my email. Send us a couple of pictures. And what we'll do is we'll post a couple of pictures.
All right,
and
that'd be fun.
say, this is where Jorge is now,
Yes.
and this is what he was doing this week.
Yes.
And then when you come back, I think we need to have another show.
That would be.
I think you need to come back and then
Yeah.
share everything with us.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it would be a lot of fun.
Mhm.
So,
I have a lot of people say my dream has always been to go to Venice. A lot of people don't know, but I lived in Europe 13 years. So I traveled Europe and Asia and North Africa for those years. They were great, the best years of my life. I've been to Venice 3 times, but I've never been for Carnival. And it's like being in New Orleans and Mardi Gras. It's a different New Orleans, you know, during that period. Same with Venice. Yeah.
well, it sounds like it's going to be a whole lot of fun for you.
I hope so. I hope so. I really do. And Venice is very warm in the winter. A lot of people think it's cold. No, they're very, very warm. If you leave Venice and you head up altitude, yeah, there's snow and ice, but it's very tempered. And you see that when you see the videos, people wearing coats, but they're open. And
So Venice, Italy, Paris, France, what was the
and
third?
Zurich.
And
Zurich,
Zurich,
Switzerland. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
3 lovely spots
Yeah.
in Europe.
Yeah,
All
absolutely.
3 cities that are great.
Yeah.
Not only the Notre Dame, are you going to get a chance to go to the Louvre?
Oh yeah, well, here. Someone sponsored us. Also, the Louvre is in financial trouble. Not everybody is. And sometimes
Yes, absolutely.
we know. And they are having a fashion show in the Louvre for the first time, and we just got tickets to go to that.
Very
So
cool.
I'll roll my camera and share that video with all those following us on our Facebook page or TikTok or whatever. And So that'll be fun. We'll go to the Sacre Coeur. I'll meet a couple of friends that I still have in Paris. So yeah, it's almost like a reality show. Annie Bourdain. There's so many people who do travel now as a YouTube channel, and one day maybe you can take off with me and we could do all the pirate sites in the world.
That would be a lot of fun.
Wouldn't that be fun?
And you never know what's going to hit.
Oh,
we were
man.
just talking about that earlier before
That'd be
show, in the pre-show. Because Davey, my favorite mini mayhem is the one on the bridge with the nuts. That's my favorite, and it got more hits, I think, than anything else that we've done with mini mayhem. But we were talking that you never know what's going to hit. Isn't that right, Mandy?
Yeah. Could you imagine visiting all the places in the Caribbean where pirate ships once docked and people would know the story, and going to places like where Blackbeard sailed out of in England or whatever?
And Mandy, your daughter does YouTube stuff, and sometimes it surprises you, the things that just happen to come along with what she does, doesn't it? Take it off.
Yeah, there we go. I have a broken keyboard on this laptop. Anyway, no, yeah, some of the things that hit and things that don't are crazy, but the travel stuff is always fun. When I used to take baby Groot around with me and do photos on Instagram of wherever I was traveling with him, that got a lot of attention. So
and Davey and I were talking about it. Davey's getting ready to take a little mini mayhem out on a couple of other jaunts around to the beach or to see some mermaids or whatever else. So I'm sure those will hit. It's amazing what hits and what doesn't hit.
Yeah, you have no idea.
Well,
sometimes you video the dumbest thing, you think no one's going to watch this, and it just goes crazy. Yeah.
Well, and it can hit on one platform and not the other platforms too.
Right.
So it can be huge on Instagram, and Facebook and YouTube don't say one thing, and like vice versa. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Is that the audiences are so different.
Thank God we don't bet on stuff like that. We'd be broke.
we went to the first year. One of the first years I did Ancient City Con, we had 20 or 30 antique bottles that looked like they belonged in a movie with Pirates of the Caribbean. And we sold them all for $10, $15, $20 a piece, depending on the size.
Right.
The next year we took about 20 or 30, and we couldn't sell one. So it's just it's really hard to tell. It really is.
You take a risk every time.
So,
if there's financial involved, you're really taking a big risk. But I was an actor when I was young, and I remember one of my teachers said, "You don't do this because of money. You do this because this is what you love, wherever it goes."
And I guess that's why I'm a pirate.
Yes, sir. You're a pirate all day long.
So you're going to Italy, France, and Switzerland.
Yes.
So my first question now in my head, do you speak the language of any of those three countries?
My Italian is survivable, yeah? Parlare italiano, huh?
Right.
Because it's very similar to Spanish. So the last several months, I'm just listening at YouTube, like, the 500 phrases you need in Italy, I got little books, I'm doing little exercises. It's very similar, and so I have no problem. I did humanitarian work in Sarajevo after the war, and the State Department couldn't. I remember the State Department says, "Don't go. We're not going to guarantee your security. You're on your own." And through an organization in Vermont called Volunteers for Peace, they were able to link me with an Italian humanitarian whatever entity that allowed me to be in Sarajevo and Mostar, it was still very, there was still death squads, there was still lots going on. I was working with children, but that's where I realized how similar. I was lost the first week or so, but after week 2, the Italians spoke, I understood, and I can answer them. So I'm just refreshing all that. I came back after Kosovo when Milosevic went into Kosovo. That was a bloody mess. But Italian was the language, so I feel very comfortable.
So we were talking about new phones. So I just got a new phone just after Christmas. Hadn't had a new phone for 8 years. They're T-Mobile. Every once in a while, it says, "We just downloaded another app for you." I said, "Quit doing that." But one of the apps they downloaded, there's a translation app on my phone now.
With this technology is really incredible. Now they have supposedly these things you talk to me in the language, I hear you. I talk to you and you hear me. It's amazing. My ex-wife was still very good friends, and she lives in France. I'll be seeing her for coffee in Paris. But
Little tiny coffee cup.
yeah, a little tiny coffee cup. But she knows that AI. She's a translator. She's made lots of money doing that. But she realized it's written on the wall. It's over. AI is coming. So now she's diversifying into giving tours in Italian and things like that. People come because she realizes, the game is over.
So I'll put you on the spot. I may know the answer. France, Italy, and Switzerland.
Mm-hmm.
Is Italy the one that you like the food the best?
Oh wow, that's I lived 13 years, so I got to taste a lot of food. I would have to say, the Italian kitchen is incredible, and I think what makes Italian cuisine so incredible, it's its simplicity.
Yeah,
it's simple, but it's just in Venice.
And they're generous with their portions.
Well, yeah, but Venice specifically is not. People don't know that Venice was the maritime power of the world for centuries.
Yeah,
they were it, and it's interesting. Their whole cuisine is very much a seafood base. They have the famous pasta that's black because they put this ink they put on it. They also have their own noodle called the bigoli, and they make it with sardines and onions. Very delicious. So they do bacalao, which is a form of codfish. If you don't like seafood, Venice is the wrong place for you. But it's wonderful. Their thing, and that's another thing. We want to go into kitchens with our cameras. We want to make friends with the Italians, and that's why I'm trying to work. My Italian so they don't. Yeah, they feel that I really love their culture and that I really want to learn. I'm not there to be a jerk.
When I was in the military, I traveled in Japan, Philippines,
Oh, I love
Korea.
Japan. Mhm.
Japan was my favorite.
I
but
love
Korea,
Japan.
the Philippines, Hong Kong,
Mhm.
and a couple others.
Hong Kong is another trip.
Yeah, that's
I love Hong
it's
Kong.
now more of a trip because the British don't own it.
Yeah, the Chinese are wrecking that place. Like
but
a wrecking ball.
I found out, especially in Japan, Korea too, but especially in Japan, you go off away from where most of the Americans are,
Yes.
but you make an attempt to speak to them in
Yes.
their language.
Konnichiwa.
They will
Yes. Yeah.
relate to you
Yeah.
much better.
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure that is a universal thing when you get away
Yeah.
from the
Yeah.
main touristy areas of any country.
Yeah. Yeah.
The local people
Right.
are much more easier to get along with because they appreciate
Yeah.
your efforts. Your
Right.
efforts may suck, and some of them will tell you so.
Yeah.
But
It's I remember traveling China before the boom. It was really, really difficult. No one spoke English. You're lost. You're literally lost all the time. But one thing you realize when you travel around the world is that they're all human beings. They all get drunk differently. They all have problems with their mother-in-laws. They all want the best for their kids. They're all looking for another job. We have so much in common, and we do things different. We have cultures and rituals in our cultures where this is how we do things, whether you're in a Muslim country, whether you're in Israel, whether you're anywhere in Europe. People do it. In Germany, a lot of people take their shoes off before they go in their homes,
and that's a Japanese.
Oh
culture,
boy,
sure.
I did that mistake. I never heard so many Japanese yell at me at the same time. It's but you realize that we're all basically human beings, and we have this core that is all similar. So yeah, what you said is they do appreciate when you try and say, hey, they always use this term, the ugly American. I've seen them. They're looking for a Starbucks. There are no Starbucks here. Get away. But there are Americans who really try to speak some word. This changes the whole energy, the whole vibration in that room or wherever you are. And I remember going in a Japanese place, and I was tall with long hair down to here, long beard. They all looked at me. It was a noodle bar somewhere in the working class area of Japan. They all look at me. I sat there. They brought me the noodles. They're all looking at me. And I remember when I took them, I slurped like they did. And they were like,
Yep.
So it's all those little things that really you realize this is planet Earth. We need to get along.
I constantly am saying that if we were able to do away with politicians and media, we would probably be much better because I mean,
Yes.
I'm somewhere, and this is not a bragging point. This is more of a point to the conversation.
Mhm.
After 14 years, go into my 15th year at the Pirate Museum, I've done between 9,300 and 10,000 tours. We're trying to get an exact number so we know when it hits 10,000.
Right.
But I brag to people. I've met people from every country
Yeah.
in the world coming to St. Augustine,
That's a blessing.
and they all pretty much are all the same.
Yeah.
Every country has their Karens,
Yes, they do.
but everybody's, the people want to share, they want
Yes.
to learn, they
Yeah.
want to.
They're curious.
I've had some great conversations where the language was a problem,
Yeah.
but when you start drinking rum with somebody and using paper to draw pictures and
Yes.
working in the sand, whatever else,
Yes.
it's an amazing
It works.
thing. So you're getting to, and we were talking about age. I won't tell anybody, but you're getting to go and really rejoice in
Yes.
3 wonderful countries
Yeah.
where you get to hang out
Yeah.
with the local
Yeah.
people, and
Yeah.
these balls sound wonderful.
Well, yeah, and my French is deficient, but my German is very good too because I lived in Germany a long time. I made it kind of my base whenever I went out. So ich kann sprechen Deutsch, yeah. And so Switzerland, of course, has its own kind of, it's like English here and then English in England.
Yeah,
It's a bit different.
it's like
So-
English in the
Yeah,
South,
oh,
and English
Ireland,
in-
oh my God.
or English in New York.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in England, New York, or you go to Scotland and they talk like this and they talk very quickly, and you're like, what did he just say? Oh, how long am I going to be here? Oh, your ears are twisting. We're speaking English, yes, but English, languages evolve. They become more modern. You read Shakespeare, you're kind of lost. Your Shakespeare play is this thick. The dictionary next to it is this big.
Yes.
Just explaining what every word means.
Hey, Davey,
Yeah.
real quick, just flash the question of the week back up on the screen. Will the historian wandered in? He's a little bit on the late side, but pop that up there so he sees it, because I've seen some really good answers to a couple of things. Mandy and Davey, if you see any good questions for our guest, if I put my glasses on, I can see better, but I don't want to put my glasses on. So you guys watch. It'll be changing when I put the big 55-inch screen up there where I can actually see everything starting next week. So I won't have to have glasses. But so
What's your best era of music?
mine,
Yeah.
actually, believe it or not, and people really chastise me for this. I really like disco. I really
love
did.
disco.
I love disco.
Yeah. I'd have to break it down to I like rock and roll, and when I mean Rolling Stones, Jimi
Right.
Hendrix,
Yeah.
Peter Frampton. I love the Motown area,
Yeah.
the Motown era. Love it.
But
I
I
love it.
Eagles, Pink Floyd, those kind of things. That would be the like said, Three Dog Night. Those are the kind of
Three
things.
Dog- No one plays Three Dog
No
Night.
one plays
What's
Three Dog
going
Night
on with
anymore.
these radio stations? They never play Joy Around the World. You don't hear them. I don't know what's up
so
with that.
once it started getting into the 80s, late 80s, and then into the 90s,
Yeah,
I just lost
it
my
changed.
interest in
Yeah.
rock and roll. I
But
really did.
I'll tell you a funny story. I stayed with these punk guys in England in the East Side, rough area. Stayed with them for about 4 or 5 days. They listened to the Sex Pistols and the Clash and all that. On Sundays, they listened to Frank Sinatra. I'm listening to Frank. What's
That
going on?
reminds me.
He said, oh, Frankie, baby, he's cool, man. He's
It
cool.
reminds me, Davey, Mandy, this last, Friday night, I had tours all the way up until I finished at 7:00. And when I left the Colonial Quarter, I walked through the Bull and Crown. And of course, my accent's even worse when I'm in pirate gear. And these 3 Brits were sitting at the table and wanted to know where I was from. And long story short, they're here in country for a friend of theirs who moved back here somewhere down near Cocoa Beach to get married to an American woman. So they all came for the wedding,
Oh, yeah.
but they have a band. I looked them up. I found them on the YouTube. Their band is called Noisy, Noisy. And it wasn't bad. I mean, it's not the kind of music I would normally listen to, but we had a good time talking. They bought me a drink. I bought them a drink. Bottom line is that sometime in maybe April or May, they want to be on the show, but we're going to do it live. It'll be 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning for them, at 8 or 9 o'clock here, but they want to be on the show.
Wow.
So,
Right.
you know, maybe that'll help us pull in some extra Brits.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Brits.
Everything is always about trying to find different ways to do things. I see Nightingale in Florida. She put up something. I was in France shopping at a grocery when a woman from England approached me and asked if I speak a bit of English. I told her I spoke Southern, but would give it a try. We both laughed.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just traveling to foreign countries has always been a joy for me. I've enjoyed it.
I do too.
There's been a few countries I had to go to that I wasn't there for pleasantries.
All right.
But you know, it's so this is only what, a 15-day trip?
We leave on the 17th and we're back on the 7th of March. We leave the 6th, but you know, you take a whole day to get
So
here.
let's see.
So that's about
18
18 days.
18 days.
About 18 days. Yeah, they'll fly through. Our bulk is in Venice because that is what we I'm going with a group of 5 women, and they've been there several times, so they know how Venice is during the carnival. I've been in Venice when it's not carnival, and they know the places to go. Photographers come from all over the world. People put literally thousands of dollars in the costumes they wear. Some costumes are just feathers go up to the, you know, I mean, it's some of the stuff is just mind-boggling.
Well, I look forward to seeing some really good pictures, and I think we'll do a little mark on each show, and if we found some pictures,
I'll
and
be
you send us
sending
some.
video and pictures.
Yeah. I like costumes, Captain. So does I got all the stuff he sent me. He sent me a group of some pictures.
Put that one back up. What
and
the
3
world
videos.
was that?
Yeah, but it's interesting how slowly the steampunk and the pirates, what I feel have a relationship with. You see a lot of people in these themes, you know, with dressed in black with these beautiful skulls on it, and you know, the pirate shape, and I mean, it's stuff that you just have to stop and look, and I'll try to send you those when I see them.
Please, that would be wonderful to add to our collection.
Yeah.
And then maybe what we can do is at the end of your time when you come back, we'll take all the pictures that you
That'd be
have
fun
and
to
put
talk
them in
about
some
it.
kind of some kind of video and talk
Yeah,
about them.
yeah.
And because I'm sure you're going to have some great stories.
Oh yeah.
And so let's talk about not just this trip, but we probably met in 2007, maybe 2008.
Yeah, I mean, I got here in 2006. I lived in the island of Maui. I was very, very happy. There were no pirates there, and I was very, very happy. And I had to leave Maui after 4 years because my mother got sick.
Right.
And I became her caregiver for 15 years. It was rough 15 years. Every year gets more challenging. And then, but yeah, I met you. Oh yeah, I met you. I've had drinks with you. You've been on my show.
And that was a fun show.
Yeah.
Jorge has a show called St. Augustine Tonight.
Yeah.
And it was pretty much like the Tonight Show.
Right.
You had a band,
Yes.
you had music, and you call people in, and they would sit on the couch and you'd have conversations.
Yeah, we do 13 shows.
I think I did season 2.
Yes, season 2. We do 13 shows. We've done 5 seasons, and now this one in September. So it's gotten better and better with more support from the community.
Now, when I did it, you did it over
at the Lincolnville Museum. Well, I'm going to do it again in Lincoln Museum. They're actually restoring that whole second floor and becoming a stage where there'll be lights and sound and everything. It's tremendous what they're doing. It should be finished by April. I'll be there in September. So they're just pulling beams and turning it into a real place where you can have a show. My show now has one band every show, one different band. I try to give bands an opportunity to be there. We were able to pay them the last time, which was great. Not a lot, but you know they need money. We also bring stand-up comics, and we have 3 guests. It could be someone like William, and we have a 15-minute interview of what they're about. We have people like William who have an incredible life of magic and pirates and so much more. We had someone on our show who had been twice to the Titanic on a submersible Russian.
Oh, that would be cool.
You could hear a pin drop. Everyone was like, and I got to, it's sad I didn't have a projection screen, but I got to see his video.
And you have a live audience for your show.
It's live audience.
Live audience.
There's drinking on. It is, when I come out to do the monologue, there's a roar of people just, you know, like a Tonight Show. It's great. It's,
It seems to me I put an idea to you and we never went anywhere with it, but maybe we should do it this time. You're going to start in September, right?
September, yes.
And what night of the week will you do it on?
It'll be Tuesday nights. It'll be right after Labor Day. We'll start every Tuesday night for 13 Tuesdays, which will bring us to, I believe, December 6th would be our last show.
Well, let's see here. I'm looking at the calendar because I have an idea to throw at you that might be kind of cool. Let's see here. Going into September.
Yep, September. So it'd be
you're going to do
right after Labor Day. So 8th would be our first show. Mm-hmm.
So your second show, the 15th.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what this day is? The 19th.
The 19th of September.
It's International Talk Like a Pirate Day. So maybe.
No, it skipped me. I'm sorry, but thank you. Thank you for the.
So we could maybe join you on your show and maybe make it a pirate theme, because Talk Like a Pirate Day, International Talk Like a Pirate Day.
We could talk about it. It's a lot of time. Yeah. We could have you on and see what we could come up with.
Actually, 16, because it's a Tuesday night, you said, because our show's on Monday night, and 15th will be dedicated.
We could let people know.
Yeah, and we could. So there's something to think about.
Yeah, definitely.
That'd be kind of fun.
I'm open to a lot of things. You know, the idea of the show was that I realized in St. Augustine that St. Augustine was like the old Bruce Lee Kung Fu movies, where every school had supposedly the best Kung Fu.
Yes.
And they were always, rivals. So I realized everyone was sort of in their own bubble. You know what I'm saying? And I thought the show was a way to create bridges and to people realize that it's better to work together than to keep competing against each other.
That's one of the things that happened. There was a bridge between us. And this would be, let's see, so 2022.
Right.
You called me up, and we were just then thinking about moving all my Halloween stuff downtown.
Yes.
And so our first year downtown was 2022. And we got involved with the Halloween project that you were doing. That pretty much blanketed.
Shannon Hart Reed was behind that whole project, and I was there to support her. And we both worked together on this and created this Halloween thing that was great. I mean, there was a lot that was done. Of course, we got a nor'easter that came in and kind of put a kink in it, but we survived.
And we've done very well. The other 23 and just finished 24, and already planning 25.
And that's it. You wanna add success to success, and that's the thing. People started coming to my show and realizing that it made sense to create projects together. You know what I'm saying? Like we reached out to you, we reached out to other people. Everyone was so keen on it. And Shannon Hart is just a genius. I just can't say much about her. That her creativity in her mind is just mind-boggling. And she's coming on this trip, and she's making a lot of the costumes, and she loves Venice, and she loves the carnival. So I follow her because she is, one of those creative minds that you admire. And you say, wow. And she is a 3-time Emmy winner. She worked in Hollywood doing set designs with De Niro and Tarantino.
She had such she has so much Halloween props.
Oh my God!
And then
The
she
stuff-
turned around and just gave them all to
Yeah,
her. So I
this
I
is
had
it.
to get a Connex box in my backyard
Well,
to put
this is
everything in.
it. She has a
So-
heart that is so big, and a lot of people take advantage of that, which makes me very angry. But and she loved you and your whole pirate thing, and so she's a giving person, and I think giving persons
And that first year,
tend to get burned every once in a while. you know?
that first year, 2022, it was fun. For 8 years prior to that, we had been doing it in my big backyard out in the shores, but we had to move.
Yes.
And so we made a deal with the Colonial Quarter.
Yes,
I think
you
it made
did.
it easy because I worked
Yeah.
for them.
Right.
So we turned it
Use
into
your connections, man.
we turned it into a lot of fun,
Yes,
and it
yeah.
really made an impression. And
Yeah.
so,
You see the potential.
yes,
You realize, oh my God, I should have done this sooner than later, right?
and the money we've raised for it, we give a portion of the money to,
That's what makes you
Alias Acres,
special. That's
and-
what makes you special, my brother.
and we give it to Inc. Speaking of Alias Acres, Davey, before we end this show, do you have that little card that you made for us to use on St. George Street on your computer that we could pop up there so people can see the QR code? Yeah, let's talk about that before the end of the show to make sure. Okay, is that all right with you? We'll do that in across the bow because I didn't write anything, so we'll do that in across the bow. Just hit me in the head. Let's go ahead and do that. So the question popped up here. What is your favorite country?
Oh wow! So many people ask that. That is very hard.
And there's your Facebook page running across the screen.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. Yeah, people, please subscribe, support us. We have a GoFundMe. If you got a nickel, throw it in. We'd appreciate it. Favorite country. Every country has a sort of fascination, and you know that. You see the Eiffel Tower. You see the Tower of Pisa over here. You see the Colosseum in Rome. You see Japan and something there that's the Osaka Castle. The way I answer that is, if I had to leave this country, this is home. I was born in New York City in Hell's Kitchen. Not a place called Hell's Kitchen is exactly where the devil goes makes his lunch, but it's still home. This is it. I love my country, but if I had to leave for some reason, it's that south of Europe that fascinates. Spain, Italy, France is another beautiful place. I loved England when I traveled to England. I go to England quite a bit. I love the Brits. I love their sense of humor. The Mighty Python kind of thing.
I love that. I'm a huge John Cleese fan.
Just cut his legs, So yeah, it's really hard to pick a country because everything everything has something very unique. It'd be great if you could create your own country. Bring this from here. Bring this from here. So, but I do say if I had to leave here, I think the south of Europe would be the place. Greece is a beautiful another place. Egypt is an incredible country also. So it's hard. It is really hard to pick a favorite country. I mean, whatever country let me in, I guess.
I do have to say that Japan is probably my favorite of the.
But Japan is like stepping into a movie set.
Yeah,
It is Blade Runner and much more. Whether you're in Kyoto or Nara, which are the imperial cities, where all the histories there, which thank God our generals were educated enough to say, no, don't bomb these. No, we're at war, but don't leave them alone. Thank God they're beautiful. And then you're in cities like Osaka, Tokyo, Hiroshima is also very special. Japan is the food. I love the food. Yeah. You picked a really.
Yeah, I mean, most of the other countries that I've lived in or visited for one reason or the other,
Right.
i.e., military time or whatever.
Right.
A lot of them were third world countries, and it was eye-opening.
Mm-hmm.
And it is one of the reasons why I believe that almost every young person in the United States, when they come out of high school, should be put in a position that they have to do some kind of a service for their country, and that service includes that they have to go overseas.
Well, if I were president of the United States, high school would be when you're in 10th grade. There's a trip you do, a volunteer trip to help a country, and in 10th grade you go to a first world country. It could be Norway, Sweden, France, blah blah. In your 11th year, you go to a second world country to do a volunteer thing for 3 weeks or something. It could be Argentina, it could be Mexico, it could be somewhere in Africa. And then in your 12th year of high school, you go to a third world country, also as a volunteer. I think it would really mold the mind of Americans to see the world, the planet, in a very, very different way. And I think a lot of positive things would come from that.
I think so too.
You know,
I think it is. I mean, we're lucky at our age because we're very close in age,
yes.
and we'll leave it at that. But we're close enough in age that we have similar. I don't want to use the opinion, but we have certain mindsets about certain
Right,
things. The way
right.
the way the world is, we know the way the world is because
Yes.
we've lived in various
Yes.
countries.
Yes.
And it is one of the things that has shaped and molded the way we do things,
Right.
and it gives us
Vision and direction.
that's a good way to put it.
Yes,
I was
vision
going to
and
say
direction.
creativity
Yes,
too.
it comes from, some of the best directors, some of the best artists. They're pulling from what they see.
Right.
Asian art, African art, early American Indian art. It's just, yeah.
Oh, this is a good question. Will the Historian is my son. He's a history teacher in
Okay.
Northern Alabama. So which country do you think is the most hospitable and which country has the best food? So I believe we already talked about the best food, which would probably be Venice.
Yeah, Italy and it's funny that Italians don't see themselves as Italians. What people don't understand is that Italy's only been a country like from 1871. They became a country. They were regions. So Italians see themselves from where they come from first. So they say, I'm Veneziano. I'm from Abruzzo. I'm from, Sicilia. This is what they're first. Then they're Italian. And the food and everything's different. That's why they get so violent in these football games, because they're fighting these old wars when there were different kingdoms that they had. It's kind of funny. But which country is most hospitable? Wow, I can't say that I was in a country that was not hospitable. All the countries, if you made the effort to want to understand them,
Right.
they would open up. They'd bring you into their homes. I had people who picked me out of nowhere, took me to their home just to have lunch with an American. That happened in the Czech Republic after the wall had come down, and they still would not split. And I got to have a breakfast with Václav Havel, which was the president. This was arranged through some Canadian friends that I met. And I got them to sit with the parliamentarians who wanted to practice English, but ask questions about the United States. It was a wonderful day I had there in Prague. But hospitable, yeah, I think most countries are hospitable. Even in Russia, I spent time in Russia. I learned a little Russian at the university. Once you make that effort, they kiss you on both sides. They hug you. So
And you have to get away. For lack of a better way to put it, you have to go to the inner country. You have to go away. You can't stay. Although Paris, France is a wonderful city,
yes,
it's homogenized.
Yes,
and you need to step away.
Right, New York City isn't America.
No,
New York City is a freak city. Yes, it's a city where all people meet. It's a city that's very open-minded, and I understand in 9/11 why that was the city that was hit, because it was a city that encompassed all that was America: acceptance, tolerance, diversity, everything that other countries hate, because countries are in these tribal minds that if you're this, you're the enemy. If you're of this religion, you're the enemy. If you're New York is a city where you have to learn to live. When I went to school, I had Italians, I had Polish people, I had Mexicans, I had Chinese, I had Jews who were Hasidic. I had to learn to understand that we were a melting pot. And yeah, I understand why 9/11, this is the target of the empire that you want to hit. But New York is not America. You go to Texas, it's a different thing. You go to Virginia, you go to Utah, you go to California. It's all a different energy, and it's all beautiful. It's part of this country, you know what I'm saying? And I love all these places. I've been all over the United States, and Gatlinburg, the waitress named Flo, she's telling you this wonderful barbecue. This is what, and you're listening to Dolly Parton on the radio talking about her little coat with different colors. It's what we are, and I feel that we're sort of pulling away. We need to Yeah, we're all this. We're all this, man. It's wonderful. It's wonderful.
Yeah, traveling this country is like traveling. Our states are like other countries.
Yes, yes.
We have it.
And
we
you
have
have
a diversity.
Yes.
But again, it goes back to, and you've learned this with your travels. It goes back to, if you make an effort and you give effort, you give respect, you give kindness, it comes back to you.
Yeah, and it's funny how people are. I remember once traveling through Oklahoma, I stayed with this family and I helped them. I used to do electrical work and stuff, and they were ready for the harvest, and I stayed with them. They were so kind. They were really sweet. They took me to these honky tonk bars, I'll have a long neck Budweiser, please. And it was great. And I worked. And I remember I said to him, his last name was an Irish name. And coming from New York, if you have an Irish name, you're Irish, And I remember saying to him, God, I'm trying to remember his first name, but he's a great man. He's a father. He had sons and everything. I'm helping him. We're out in his fields. He's growing soybean. And I said, so you're Irish? And he looked at me and said, no, this is my land. I was born here. My great granddaddy fought in the Civil War. You know what I'm saying? It's like, forget the Irish thing, man. That's far away. My blood is in this soil here. And this is what I grow. And I learned so much from people like that,
So there's a comedian, I'm not going to use his name, but there's a comedian I've been watching a lot of because I did comedy clubs, so
Yes.
I really like watching comedy.
Yeah, I love stand up.
So there was a comedian that I've been watching, and what you just said reminded me of a line he said. He said he doesn't understand why in this country there are Black Americans, Hispanic Americans, Mexican Americans, Italian Americans. He said, go to China, and you're a Black man living in China. You're not a Black Chinaman.
Right. This is the thing, and we're only 200 some years old.
Next year will be 275, 250.
Is it 250?
250.
Yeah, we hit the 250
next year. I didn't realize that until I heard it on the radio the other day. 250.
Right, 1776, 2026. Yeah.
So my son, I found the people of Egypt outside the city of Cairo in the villages were very welcoming into their homes to share a small meal.
Yes. Don't believe the media. The media feeds on fear, my friends.
Yeah.
That is it. I told my dad when I was 9 years old, he laughed in my face. I'm going to make a newspaper with good news, Dad. And he laughed and said, you'll be so poor. You'll be so poor. No one feeds on good news. It's sad. It's sad.
And I heard this today too, and I think it's fun. This is not a comment in support or denial of the President of the United States, because I like to keep that part of my politics
keep
quiet.
politics away.
But somebody, it may have been Joe Rogan, said the reason that the current president gets so much guff because of his tweets and his online stuff is because the media is mad at him because he's putting stuff out there that they don't get a chance to twist on.
That's it.
And I think it was Joe Rogan that I was listening to, and he's absolutely right. Whether it's right or wrong.
Listen, I grew up with Walter Cronkite.
Yep.
Walter Cronkite.
Chet Huntley.
Yes, he would give me the news. He figured I was old enough to deal with it. He didn't roll his eyes. He didn't sigh. He didn't make any signs of telling me if it was good or bad. He left that up to me. I could go to the library if I wanted to know more. He just gave me the news. Today is July 27th, 1964, and this is the news. He just told me, happened here, happened here, happened here, happened here. That's it. It's over. I'm gone. Now everyone wants to die. Now it's clicks. Now it's money.
Yep.
It's not public anymore. So if I can scare you, you click more. I make more money. It's that easy.
David, Cronkite, Brinkley,
yes,
and Huntley. Those were the three of the day.
I remember watching Buckley. Remember Buckley?
Oh yeah.
He talked like this. You see, he was such an intellectual from Massachusetts. This is existentialism of politics within your party. I mean, I'd listen to him. He had an opinion. But the thing was, and everyone respected each other. No one was screaming at each other.
Right.
No one was dissing or embarrassing. These were men who were intellectuals and shared ideas.
And this whole conversation circles all the way back to the fact that you're getting a chance to go on a trek through 3 countries, that you're going to get to rub elbows with people, eat food, enjoy those people.
Yes.
And
Celebrate.
really
We're alive.
have a
We're on
good
planet
time.
Earth.
Yes.
We're in a party.
Yes, it's a good thing. And when you come back, I want you to be on the show, and we'll work on the date because you'll be back in March. So I think we'll
Yes.
pull you in either the end of March or the first part of April.
Yes. People, we take so much for granted.
Yes.
A hot shower is a luxury. Believe me.
Yes.
I've had the cold ones with no soap. It's a luxury. Yes. Enjoy.
I've had cold ones with no soap. Yes. Davey, I'm marching back through.
Look at that.
That one's a
One of
nice
one of our ladies will be wearing that, and she has another version of it too.
That's
Uh,
so. What else? What other pictures did you there?
Look at that. That is my friend Shannon. That's what she was wearing last time she was there. They've been there 3 or 4 times, so they know the modus operandi of how everything works. But look at that. And this is the kind of costumes you see. It's not what you see in Brazil or in Mardi Gras. You know, it's a very posh, very elegant, classy festival of balls. And they have a ball. They only have that one ball. I'm not going to that one ball. It's $3,000 to come to it. It's like, what are they feeding you for $3,000? But, you know, a lot of those balls, like that one, are almost like Cirque du Soleil events. They're just really big. I'm going to one of the balls with that is a friend. Let me tell you something about her. I will not give you her name, but she's a retired FBI agent.
Wow. Look at
and
that.
she's living her life. She look at her. She's gorgeous in that thing.
That is what a dress.
Look at this. This is also someone I know who's right. So it is a real fantasy world you're in. There'll be days where I'll be in costume, and there'll be days that are not. Those are 2 friends of mine too, and there they are in one of these older buildings. Their costumes. That is me trying out stuff. These are one of the hats that I'll wear.
You look like you should be in Pirates of Penzance.
Yes, you look like a general of some sort that I know. Yes, yes, that is me. That is my costume. One of them, where the bull kills the bullfighter.
That is look at that. Isn't that fantastic?
And you'll be, that's a version of that with a different hairpiece. And oh my God, if you saw the dresses these women are making for this, they're just, you know, a Hollywood film could not carry that. So
wow.
So this is why we have a GoFundMe, because this is not.
Yo, this is the St. Augustine Tonight Show going to Venice. And this is my date on one of those days. No, it's not Marie Antoinette. I'll find her head, and she'll be someone beautiful, just beautiful. You'll see.
A winner. We love you, Lotto winners.
There we are.
Do. We love you, Lotto winners.
Hey, this is the St. Augustine Tonight Show getting ready to go global. Yes, we're going to Venice. We're going to Venice. The Carnival in Venice, not California, Venice, Italy. Yes, we'll be in Zurich. We'll be at Paris, but we're starting at Venice. 11 days in Venice. Look, we're picking stuff. We don't know if this matches. We're matching it as we go. Everything's looking great. I'm going to share a lot of other stuff with you. You're coming with us, whether you know it or not.
Yes.
Just trying stuff when nothing here is determined. Nothing here is yet. In a couple of weeks, we'll know exactly to the button what we got. But this is just tryouts.
That's a good one. That
That's a
hat
trap.
and the
Look at that.
hat and the
Do
cape.
I look like a Casanova?
The hat and the cape.
On TV, it was always so fun. There we are. Now we're back.
Hey, this is the time that Mandy should be putting. Now we know why the rum is always gone.
That's funny.
I was looking down.
Good rum.
I was looking down and seeing some of the messages we had here.
Oh, does he want to explain about this?
Yeah,
Yes,
go ahead.
Yes. Okay, so that's our GoFundMe. So if you were to put your phone on that, it would take you to that. And so whatever you could give, $5, $10. We have all ranges of people giving. It's very sweet. I guess because they feel it's cheaper than a plane ticket. So they'll follow us to the streets of Venice. They'll follow us in Zurich and in Paris. So, you know, I want to thank all the people who have given and ask those who have seen it to reconsider. Every little bit helps. Every little bit helps. So I thank you
Is
in
it doing
advance.
well?
Yes, it's doing well.
Good,
It's
good.
doing well. And many people have promised before we leave to actually drop in a couple of cents, and that all helps because, you know, remember, we're carrying so many stuff. We're carrying a lot of baggage,
Yeah,
and now traveling to the airlines. Oh my God!
yeah. They
Every
want to
bag
charge you
is
for everything.
$100.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I don't want to buy a bag. I want to check a bag. You know, and so all that helps us in those expenses that are, you know, we've have everything paid. But the thing is, whatever we can recoup would be great because it's not cheap anymore to travel, and it's a hazard in the sense that you got to take off your shoes and your belt, and you got to. Now everyone is suspect, like I said. I used to see that in communist East Germany when I'd cross in and out, and I'd see people having stripping down and all that, and the people in their bags. I said, "Thank God that will never happen to us."
Yeah, well, guess what?
Guess what?
Guess
We're doing
what?
the same thing. It's not a totalitarian state we live in, but we're going to the same exercise.
Yeah, we
What's
sure
in
are.
your pocket? Do the X-ray. Turn around. It's a let me feel you up. It's a really. I remember when you got on a plane like you got on a bus, and I guess you remember that too. And that is no longer the case. When
No.
you get on a plane, you go on a security detail, whether you know it or not.
Yeah.
You know, have to explain everything. It's a pain.
I'm looking at some of the messages that are up there. I see Ransom Mayhem is watching on the phone. I understand why. He's actually going to be here in St. Augustine this weekend, I believe. So we're going to have to plan something for either Friday night or Saturday night. What's this one here? Each one is doing something different. So I shut my phone off and resend it to iTunes, and now it works. Crazy. Blind pirate, technology don't mix. You're right.
That's funny.
Very good. Yeah.
That's funny.
So let's see. And then Mandy has to say, yeah, your brother has tech issues too. That's what Davey and myself are for. Yeah, pretty much. As I say, if it isn't for Davey and Mandy, I'd be just sitting here talking to myself. Let's see. I'm watching on the computer because I can't get it to broadcast onto the TV from my iPad like I normally do.
That's software for you.
Yeah, So my brother has a new puppy. It chewed his computer cord. Are you quick question. You bringing the puppy with you this weekend? Let me know. Let's see. I saw a new name in here too, but let's see what Jim had to say here. Venice is very different now since there are so many cruise ships docking there, similar to what has happened to Key West. Yeah, that's probably true. And Nightingale.
Now Venice is actually charging to be in the city.
Yeah.
You have to pay a tax to be there. So
Okinawa, when I was 11, and Mom took us off the tourist beaten path and really got to know people. Loved it.
Yeah.
That's Okinawa for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
The cruises actually dock in Ravenna. You've been there, right, Mandy? Yeah. Last year?
2 years ago, I think it was. We took a cruise out of Ravenna when we hit Dubrovnik and different places in Croatia, down the Dalmatian coast.
Croatia, wow.
And Athens is where we eventually ended. And Athens was freaking amazing. Like, so when you come to Athens, I loved it there. But yeah, we started in Venice, but we had to drive like another hour to get to Ravenna to get on the cruise ships.
You got to pinch yourself sometimes. I'm really here. Oh my God, this is not a postcard. I'm in it. Yeah, yeah. No. But you know, I always say you can't really see a country and enjoy its essence in the Hilton. You got to step up, man.
No, you do. You
got to step up.
I mean, when I went to Japan in '77, and they run you through a course. Where in the heck is that one at? There we go. They run you through a course. They make every new person that comes on the base, they all go through this orientation for a week, and then at the end, they give you a handful of yen, which back then it was 1,700 to the dollar. It was really a great yen rate back then. Yeah. They give you a handful of yen and say, go forth. And so me and myself and about 6 of my friends, so there are about 7 or 8 of us, we all went down to the train station, got on the train, and just rode it. And we rode it for about an hour and then got off. And we were in a place that some of the Japanese, the only thing they'd ever seen with Americans was what was on television.
Yes.
So we're walking along and being stared at, but they would drag us into the restaurants and feed us sake, and it was
sake is
wonderful.
good.
And sake
Yeah,
is good.
and,
So
people are dying to meet you. I always tell people, they say, should I go here? People are dying to meet you. Go.
So Will the Historian, I saw this earlier. He's a '90s guy. He plays a lot of
MC Hammer.
MC Hammer, Tupac,
I listen to all that too. I mean, you know.
Deep Blue. I don't know who Deep Blue and Blind Melon are.
Mhm.
Something Nickelback. Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, Nickelback.
All right. And
I loved grunge when you had Pearl Jam and you had Soundgarden and you had all these, you know, that was great music, you know, and Nirvana, you know.
And so Ransom Mayhem says you got to go back to the 70s for real music.
Yeah.
This is Zachary up in Michigan. I had a roommate that was from Lake District, England. When I let my accent out, they would believe I grew up in the States. Even some of the slang I used threw them off.
It's funny. I love learning slang.
Oh, there
in
it is.
English countries.
I
Yeah.
see a new name here, or maybe it's one that I just haven't noticed. But welcome to the show, ex-coasters. I appreciate you being here. Another new person on the show, unless Mandy or Davey can correct me and say they've been here before. But thank you very much for being a part of the show. We try to go through and say hello to everybody we can and see who was here. Will the Historian and Ransom, Jimmy Buffett fan. Yep, you can't get away with
You're in
that.
Florida, Margaritaville.
Yeah. And my brother used to play in a band, and they were backed by the Carter family. Yep, the Carter family.
Mhm.
Let's see. I don't see anything else. See, my son and my brother are arguing now, but Ransom, in the 90s, we had Genre Plus, all the great bands from the 70s and 80s, still churning out hits, including Michael Jackson. Well, you can't argue that one either.
Well, you know, the 80s had great music.
Here we
People
go.
Like the Police, Madonna.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on. Peter Gabriel. There's some great music
And
going on.
then Will the Historian says the
Aerosmith.
Aerosmith had its only #1 hit in the 90s. Mic
Yeah.
drop.
Rub it in.
Rub it in. Let's see what's this one. The Brits have to have humor because the Italians certainly took and have a better menu.
But you know, food in England has really changed. I remember where it was survival food, but now there's really a lot of stuff popping up that's delicious. Dubrovnik, Croatia. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, these are seafood towns, you know. So, you know, a lot of their dishes revolve around the fish and the seafood around them, and some of it is just spectacular, you know.
Heavy cream and hard bread.
That's too heavy cream. Yeah.
So
I've been everywhere he's getting ready to go.
what's that?
I've been everywhere where he's getting ready to go because I lived over there.
Yeah, there you go. That's Davey when he was a little boy.
Look at you.
Yeah,
What's that hat you're wearing? It has an R on it or something?
yeah. I went to school over there, first, second, and third grade in England.
All right. And your
My
uniform.
dad worked for Honeywell and brought us over there.
Yeah.
So we got to tour Europe and everything. So
Yeah, those are memories you never forget, you know.
yeah.
They're very much part of your fabric, you know.
Yeah, we lived in my brother and I, our dad was stationed in England, and we lived in England in 63 and 64, I
Oh,
believe.
wow.
62, 63, and 64. I believe
All right.
we came back in 64. England is different now, I'm sure.
Yeah.
A lot of the countries have, I wouldn't say Americanized, but they've smoothed out in some of their ways.
Yeah, they've modernized. I remember Dublin was almost like a second world country. You go
Yeah.
now, Dublin is right up there with the most modern countries in Europe. It's amazing all that Euro money that came in for them, and they just modernized left and right. Dublin is fantastic city.
Yeah, if I could go back, I would definitely like to go to see Ireland.
Ireland is great. I loved Ireland. I love the Irish.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
They're
I was going to say something to you, Mandy. You got a congressman or a senator out there that's really wanting to do some. I don't know if you've heard this or not, but Mike Lee from Utah, he wants to enact the pirates the letter of marque and let pirates go after the cartels instead of the government. and they get
That's
That's so smart to let a
that's
bunch of
funny.
armed citizens go running after the cartels. And they get to keep a part of
That's
what
a
they
quagmire there.
recover. So
Oh,
are we just going to go arrest them for drugs behind it?
The Utah Pirates.
He's looking for Sir Francis Drake is what he's looking for. You know? Yeah, wait for the Queen.
Somebody
Yeah.
sent me that news article and I read
Your
through
son?
it. What's that?
Your son? He sent it
Yeah,
to
I
you
think
too.
it was my son. So how do I want to put this? So
Be careful.
when McCain was still alive, just before he
I love McCain.
passed on,
Yeah.
he wanted to enact the letters of marque to send anybody who wanted to be pirate to the Somalian waters, so we would quit using taxpayer money to send our
Right.
Navy over there.
Right.
And he got voted down for that one. I'm pretty sure Mike Lee is going to get voted down for this one too. I mean, there's some good and bad of it,
Yeah.
but I don't know. We'll see where it goes. But
It's like a friend said, the good goes away real quick and the bad sticks around.
They're just going after all the Texans with guns because they know they'll run to the border to go find the
Yeah.
cartels.
yeah. That's one way to do it.
Yeah.
So good show, good guest here. We've got some other segments we've got to do, and the next segment we always do is This Week in History, which is sponsored by Dick's Wings. This is one of the sponsors we actually went out and created a little commercial for to kick off this little segment. So, Davey, kick it off.
Where does the captain take his hungry crew for a good lunch special? Why, Dick's Wings. Daily lunch specials even a pirate could afford. Why, look, a table filled with flavors and tastes for even the most discriminating of pirates. A great lunch and a great time is always had by all at Dick's Wings, St. Augustine, Florida, US 1 South.
We begin this week in history in the year 1631. Puritan minister and founder of Rhode Island, Roger Williams, first arrives in Boston from England. 1817. Baltimore becomes the first American city lit by gas street lamps, with the first turned on at Market and Lemon Streets, currently Baltimore and Holiday Streets. 1846. Oregon Spectator is first newspaper to be published on the West Coast. 1869. Harper's Weekly publishes first picture of Uncle Sam with chin whiskers. 1882. Circus owner P.T. Barnum buys his world-famous elephant Jumbo. 1922. Reader's Digest magazine first published. 1930. William Howard Taft resigns as U.S. Chief Justice for health reasons. 1932. Shanghai Express, directed by Joseph von Steinberg and starring Marlene Dietrich, Clive Brook, and Anna May Wong, premieres in Los Angeles. 1935. Monopoly board game goes on sale for first time. 1945. World War II. British Prime Minister Winston Churchill arrives in Yalta, Crimea, Soviet Union for the Big Three Yalta Conference. 1959. The day the music died. Plane crash kills musicians Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, J.P. Richardson, a.k.a. the Big Bopper, and Pilot, near Clear Lake, Iowa. 1962. U.S. President JFK begins blockade of Cuba by banning all Cuban imports and exports. Also in 1962, U.S. President John F. Kennedy bans all trade with Cuba, except for food and drugs. 1971. Apollo 14, third U.S. manned-moon expedition, lands near Framoro. Alan Shepard and Edward Mitchell walk on the moon for 4 hours. And finally, in 1974, Mel Brooks' Western spoof film Blazing Saddles, starring Clavon Little and Gene Wilder premieres at the Pickwick Drive-In in Burbank, California. Patrons watch from horseback rather than cars. And that was This Week in History.
Frankenstein.
Very good, Davey. Hey, I just see that Ransom Mayhem said he'll get here on Saturday, but will be here till Wednesday. Maybe we should put him on the show Monday night.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. All right, cool. So bring your pirate gear. And if you want, let's do something Saturday night. If not, I'm not a Super Bowl fan. I don't believe my brother is either, so we can do something else. We can sit in the backyard and smoke cigars if you want. But let me know. We'll go from there. It's been great having the show from the captain's desk, which we actually call Across the Bow, or Shot from the Bow. Shot across the bow. The only thing I want to talk about is Alias Acres. We tried to raise a little bit of extra money during anybody that took pictures of us on St. George Street, we showed them this little card and said, please, for taking a picture, use our name and send money to Alias Acres, because they had a fire 2 weeks ago and everything's lost now. Some of the animals were hurt or died. A couple of the humans that were there, they were hurt also. So we had quite a few people that were taking pictures and then said, oh, by all means. So we want to give back to them as best we can right now. And so use that QR code, send it around. We're going to post it on our pages. Davey, remind me to have you send that over to me or post it on our crew page so that we can have everybody copy and paste it to their pages. So let's get it out there and see if we can get some more help for them. Alias Acres is a good cause, and they're a no-kill animal shelter, and that's very important. Guest on deck. Now, obviously, now we may have a guest next week, which would be my brother, and it would be cool to have him come in and just sit here with me. The Mayhem brothers sitting on screen together. That would be interesting.
That would be mayhem.
Yeah, that would be mayhem. A couple of others. I'm Vanessa Branch. Now you know why the rum is gone. Now you'll know why the rum
Mayhem
is
gone.
Brothers. Vanessa Branch from Pirates of the Caribbean. I'm still talking to. She was supposed to be on before January, before the event in February, but we're going to move that around. We're looking forward to the Great Lakes Pirate Lords with our good watcher, loyal Zachary Wolf Harker. Always doing history, but I just got a message the other day, and I've been talking to a friend of mine who's building a video and board game that's pirate related, and he wants to use my voice.
That'd be great.
Which would be really cool. So we're working on that, and we're going to have him on the show.
Digital game?
I don't know if
your
fully.
voice, it has to be digital.
Yes, if he wants my voice, I'm assuming that.
Like Grand Theft Auto.
Yes, so I'll be helping with that. He's going to come over here to the house, and we'll sit here in my pirate room, which is a pretty good studio for stuff. We can control the sound here, and we'll do some stuff here. Davey, I may have you come over.
If you need another pirate's voice, let me know.
I will. We can be bringing that pirate in there. Davey, you may have to come over and maybe do a couple of videos as we're doing the work together, so it'd be kind of fun to cover it. But we have all kinds of possibilities coming up. I've sent out a whole lot of messages. The con that you have out in Utah, Mandy, there's the same people have one in Tampa in August, correct?
Correct.
Yes, so we're working towards that. We'll see what we can do. And Ancient City Con is in September. So we have a whole lot of things on the horizon. We just got to get everybody involved.
Where in Utah is Mandy?
Mandy is, go ahead.
So I actually live in an area called Tooele, which is just outside Salt Lake City.
Ah, okay.
So I'm actually like an hour and a half from Nevada. So.
Oh, wow. Okay. So if you have extra money, you can always go gamble.
I can gamble and everything else in the book out in Wendover. Yeah.
Believe it or not, they have a rum out there in Utah now. She's brought me at least one bottle.
Really?
Did you bring me a second one too?
At least two. Yeah.
At least two. You know what it's called?
Sugar. It's made out of sugar cane?
Yeah. Wow. It's called Brigham Rum.
Oh my God. The official.
That's right. You did. You brought me the clear one, and you brought me the
spiced one.
spiced one. The spiced one was great. The clear one, I think I still have the clear one here.
The
We're
official
not drinking
drink,
it as much.
the official drink of the college or the university out there. Yeah.
And Mandy has 2 pirate ships out there.
And she has 2 really wonderful pirate ship floats.
Wow.
She has her pirate program deals with history and helping children understand history and reading programs out in Utah.
Absolutely. That's it. Give back to the community. You know, you got to give back. Community gives you, but you have to give back. It's that's why I did humanitarian work in Europe. You know, you travel, you see, but at some point you got to get down and dirty and try to help those who are not as lucky. You know, we're so blessed as Americans, we don't realize it. We complain. It's funny when I talk to foreigners and I say, what is it about? They're always complaining. I said, yes, we are. So we don't know how good we have it, and it's kind of sad.
That goes back to what we said earlier. Everybody in high school, or when I believe when they come out of high school, should have to do something. They should have, because when I went to Japan in '77, I didn't come back to the United States at all until the '80s.
Oh my God, how long?
I was gone for 37 months, I think. 37 months.
God, almost 3 years.
Over 3 years.
Oh,
1
yeah,
month
37.
over.
Yeah.
So, and in that time frame, oh yes, hold on, don't go anywhere with that. In that time frame, Japan, traveling Japan, Korea, Philippines, I saw the United States from afar.
Right.
And when I came home, there was a huge difference in that 3 years.
Yes.
And I had culture shock.
Yes, yes.
I truly had culture shock. So
I found myself so many times agreeing with people where we screwed up as Americans, and then many times defending us where now you're going too far. No, that's not true.
Yeah.
So you always find yourself like, yeah, I get it, and think, but you know,
we are, any American that goes overseas, here's probably the best way to put it. We are ambassadors of our country.
Absolutely.
It's the same argument I use with people when I tell people when dressed as a pirate, whether I want to be or not, I'm a role model.
Yes.
And any of these pirates, any of the tour guides, anybody, they become role models, and they need to understand that there's a certain way to.
Absolutely.
So my son, put that other one up there. My son did send me a message, and they are soon to have a baby girl, my son and his wife, and Abigail Hope McCrae.
Wow.
That is a lovely name. I love it. Abigail Hope. Abigail is old world. And I'm going to just ask, is the hope because of the situation that it took for you to set this up and have a baby? That was my first thought. So tell me, son, if I'm wrong. But let's see. So Abigail Hope. And I hope I get to meet that grandbaby within the first year. That means I'm going to have to go to Alabama, I'm sure.
Alabama.
So, while you're giving me an answer to that question, let's go ahead and get the Mini Mayhem joke revealed.
All right.
Okay, it's time for the answer to the joke of the week. Why don't pirates with a hook like helping others? The answer is they find it hard to lend a hand. Maybe Joe just fell off her chair laughing.
I told you, Mandy.
Symbol there.
Davey, are you writing these jokes?
No, but I've been adding that Mandy has the first time she's heard that Minnie keeps adding her name, using her in the thing. So
that's almost like the one. Let's have a standing army because we save money on chairs.
Oh gosh,
that's a Groucho Marx joke.
Yeah.
Why don't we have a standing army? We'd save money on chairs. Yeah.
My son says yes, it is. I guess then I caught that just right. Very good. Well, I'm very, very happy for you. This means that I now will have 2, 3, 4, 5 grandchildren. I have 1 great grandchild right now, but I have another great grandchild on the way due in May. So
Wow.
5 grandchildren and 2 great-grandchildren.
Pirates, more pirates in the
Yeah.
world.
Very good. So it's time to do our thank yous, and we've come a long way in our thank yous. We now like to do it without me just sitting here and saying things and mumbling through. So the due date, 23rd of April. Okay, very cool. All right, so Davey, our first one is a thank you video. Go ahead.
The Captain Quarters Podcast is always searching the world for history, knowledge, and adventure. It takes a crew to run a podcast, so we take this opportunity to thank those who help keep this podcast going. The crew: Captain William Mayhem, Navigator Davey Longwood, Cartographer Mandy Joe. Our charities we support: Alias Acres, Humane Society, Inc. The 3 major charities we support, but always room for more. You too could be part of the show and support the show in many ways. Go to Patreon. For a small monthly contribution, become a Powder Monkey or First Mate sponsor. Go to YouTube and hit the like and subscribe buttons to join our ranks and support the show. It does take a crew. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Sorry, we're having a side conversation here. Ladies and gentlemen, if you watch us on YouTube every Monday night at 8 o'clock, as soon as the show finishes, within a short period of time, at least by midnight every Monday night, you'll have it downloaded on Facebook, Twitch, Instagram, and Spotify. And as I always tell everybody, we're going to give Joe Rogan a run for his money.
That's right.
Right. Everybody has to have aspirations. We have one. You could also listen to us, ladies and gentlemen, on Apple Podcasts, Castbox, Spotify, Stitcher, Twitter, Music, Amazon Music, that is, and iHeartRadio. We're on all those channels, ladies and gentlemen. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 channels that we're on that you can catch us. And we do have people listening or watching us on all 12 channels.
And remember, the revolution will not be televised.
That's true. So very good, Davey. Show our numbers. I know Mandy Dave.
That's good.
Yeah, that's good. So there you go. We've had another great show, and as I always say, if I have a good guest, and something I have forgotten to do a couple of times, but you know what? I'm doing it now. We always like to give our guests a souvenir. So this is like a challenge coin. It has our older logo on it. We're going to make ones with the new logos on it, but it has our sign-off thing, which you'll see in just a moment. But we give every one of them a poker chip. And it's black.
Life is a gamble.
Right, so
I got a chip.
It's $100 chip, but it's not worth $100. So don't get all upset about it.
Love it. Thank
All
you.
right, but carry that around. We always tell people also, any of our chips, if anybody has one of our chips, and we're going to get a new supply for this year, if you take your chip to Dick's Wings, you can trade it in for any drink you want, and not just well drinks. He will honor any drink you want, 1 drink per chip. He'll collect the chip, turn around and give them back to us, and then I'll turn around and find out who gave them, and I'll turn around and give you another chip.
Oh, wow.
So it's like getting a free drink for sponsoring or supporting our show. So there you go. When you come back from overseas, we'll go down to Dick's Wings, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right?
Let me know.
So there we go. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, I don't think we have anything else except our email. And I always like to say thank you very much to our guest.
I thank you for watching.
I think you're going to have a good time in Europe, and I
hope
look forward
so.
to seeing the pictures and having you back on the show
Yes, sir.
as soon as you come back. There's our email, ladies and gentlemen, Captain's Quarters Podcast 21 at gmail.com. And the 21 is because we started in the year 2021, and we started on Talk Like a Pirate Day in 2021.
And
Believe it or not.
we start a global tour in Italy. Viva Italia.
There we go.
Hey,
You're
Italia
gonna have
bellissima la
fun.
matutina.
And you're going to have fun with the drinks and the wine and the food, and you're going to come
Boy.
back. You're going to have to, that
Get on
money.
a diet.
Yeah, you make that money you pay for the extra baggage.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to make you pay it for the extra baggage you'll be carrying too. Yes, So it's been a good show,
All
ladies
right.
and gentlemen.
I thank you and all your people on the sides.
Thank
make
you very
this
much.
possible. Thank you,
Um,
Davey. Thank you, Mandy, and thank you.
So
William.
let's see. Will the historian? Let's talk this week. Ransom Mayhem. Let me know what you've got plans for the weekend, and we'll figure it out from there. I don't know my work schedule for that week yet, but let's figure it out. But either Saturday night or all day Sunday, let me know. On the rest of you, we always have a way of signing out. We've done it every time, the entire 3 years we've been on there. Kick it off, Davey.
Part of the podcast.
Part of the crew.
Always. We can't do it without you. We could, but it would just be us talking to each other, and it wouldn't be as much fun as having everybody with us. So we
That's
appreciate you being here. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you next week, 8 p.m. Monday night.
Ciao. Ciao.
With wit and charm, they make it clear. Yes.